Good afternoon.
Good.
See, I am very, very clear, right? If you don't respond and participate well, we're going to get delayed for our lunch. Good afternoon. Yes. Now, when I said lunch, everybody is intimidated. That's very nice. So, welcome to this wonderful panel discussion on batteries and charging infrastructure and the trends. Today, we have with us a wonderful panel that represents a great OEM by the name of Alti Green. Amitabh Saran for you. I still remember how from just focusing on powertrain to now employing more than 1,000, right, working in his plant and his R&D. And all this journey, when I asked him, was it over a 6-7 years journey? He said, no. All this was in just 18 to 24 months. Can we give a big round of applause? Yes. And we have Arvind from Tata Power. Tata Power needs no introduction. In fact, Tata needs no introduction. When it comes to EVs and when it comes to sustainability, they are everywhere, touching every point in the value chain. Right? So let's all welcome Arvind. Yes. And now we have from Magenta. A company just started as a charging infrastructure company, building charging infrastructure just between Mumbai and Pune, probably 6-7 years ago. That's how Max and Louis, my colleague at Bosch earlier, started. And now, I think Magenta has grown a while and grown really, really big. So let's give it up for Rohit from Magenta. And of course, there are always two big brothers when it comes to the Indian auto industry that we fondly talk about. When we recall or when we talk about Tatas, then undoubtedly comes the Mahindras, yeah? So now Mahindras, apart from building Mahindra Electric, Mahindra Logistics, right, playing a very significant role in demand creation and in transitioning the mobility, both for cargo and passenger, towards electric vehicles. So there he is, Vijay from Mahindra Electric. So give a big round of applause to the entire panelists, my dear friends, and because we are going to really bring some interesting insights. So my first question is I would like to begin with Amitabh. Is it all right? Yeah. There is a reason why I'm asking this question, Amitabh. If at all in the entire EV as an ecosystem, if there is any untamed animal at this point of time, that's battery. Because motors, we have been seeing them for a while. Controllers, we have been seeing for a while. Converters, we have been seeing them for a while. But batteries is the new animal. And interestingly, everybody wants high density, but more safety, fast charging, yet a lot of resistance to thermal, I would say, disturbance. The reason why I'm asking this question is, I think you are the first one among the three-wheeler industry to bring a super fast charger, right, to get implemented. So help me understand, what do I call that? Should I call it as a brave move, or you already were able to see the trend and the technology adoption and you brought that from the future and then feed it into your vehicle? I want you to impress some points upon what is it that led you to bring that fast charging through a three-wheeler electric?
Thanks, Rajiv. Is the mic on?
Yeah.
Thanks, Rajiv. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here right before lunch. With respect to your question, I think everything that Automotive has done so far has been all around user requirements and user needs. We saw a demand in the market for using the vehicle and over a longer period of time. So if charging could be squeezed from a 7 to 8 hour charging period to something that was under 15 minutes, that was our goal. We reached out to technology providers and we told them, if you can really make it happen, if you can give me 100 kilometers within 15 minutes, that was the target we set out for the industry. I think we're seeing the result of it today already in the e-commerce segment. Today, fresh, and all those kinds of things, produce being sent around. I'm noticing more than 220 kilometers being driven on a daily basis. Vehicles being used over two shifts of 10 hours each. So the use of the vehicle has improved, because of which the productivity, of course, has improved, because of which the cost has come down dramatically. So I think technology will only rise to a point where there is a need. The need has to be established first. No one conceived, for example, of a microwave oven, right? There was a need. A need was, can we do something more conveniently? And hence, no one came up with the idea of, I should create a microwave oven. I think same thing on our side. Everything that is happening in the industry is being pushed through need. And that need is coming from an alternate industry. Fossil fuel allows us to power up in a few minutes. Can we do that in minutes? That is the starting point. I think users keep asking us for more and more of that, and we were able to get a great partner that allowed us to push the solution out in the market. It's being tested. We have about 500 odd vehicles on the road today. Agenda is we work closely with them as a customer. So I think we have. It's all driven by. I feel it's all driven by user requirements.
Brilliant. It's all driven by the customer and his ask. And the customer is right next to him this time. Okay, now let me move on to Tata Power, right? So, being the leader, right, as a group, now you have actually taken up a real mammoth task of equipping every possible, probably the building, every possible infrastructure, every possible facility as EV charging friendly.
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to ask one thing from your perspective. We have been talking about interoperability as a key when it comes to the mass adoption, when it comes to, I would say, the tensionless adoption, when it comes to the standardization, the commonality, everything to come in and then raise the entire thing, raise the entire bar in terms of an exponential way. So, from the perspective of Tata Power, how far do you see that we are away from interoperability, and what are the critical things that are preventing us from implementing those solutions?
Okay.
Or you can start with what is interoperability for our audience and then build upon it, please. Thank you.
Fine. So see, today if you see about the ecosystem which is created by Tata Power, so the chargers, what we are creating, does it solve the purpose for the EV vehicles? So does the EV users are happy by traveling from one place to another, whether they have the infrastructure readily available for them to access across the country or different parts of the country? So that's the question, and yes, we are providing the solutions by installing the infrastructures in different places and able to access. But is that very user friendly for them, and whether they are able to achieve their task? For example, I will say, a person traveling from a city A to B, he wants to reach in 5 or 6 hours, which he can do it in a ICE vehicle, whether the same can be achieved in a EV vehicle. So that's one of the major hurdle or a bottleneck. Everyone has a mindset saying that is EV is okay for me, whether I should go for EV. Yes, as we have seen in the earlier presentation given by everyone, the technology advancements what is making. See, today a person has to stand for 1 hour in a charging station to charge the vehicle. Whereas the technology which is getting advanced, where the charging rate can be increased, the battery technology is getting advanced from a lithium to solid state. Even though it is way forward, it will take some more time. So these are certain things which I will say, which will ease off these difficulties. So which makes the EV users to adapt towards EV technology, and people will be able to get into EV vehicles more. And adoption will happen even more faster.
Thank you very much, Arvind. Now my next question to Magenta. You started as a charging infrastructure provider and then slowly transitioned into a last mile delivery, I would say, company, which is especially driving the green mobility forward. First question is, why this transition and what pulled you into this transition? Second thing is, are you already working on some kind of new trends and technologies which are going to increase your efficiencies in terms of either your range or in terms of your operations or whatsoever in your last mile delivery operations?
Thanks. Am I audible? Right. Thank you. Thanks, Ravi. taking your first question forward in terms of migrating from
You can keep it little.
in terms of migrating from a charging player to a full stack integrated EV solutions company. I think I would pick it up from what Mr. Amitabh said. It typically comes from the client, unlike abroad where charging infrastructure led the way for mobilization and electrification. In India, customers, which are typically e-commerce companies who drove the first phase of electrification in India, saw mobility as a larger domain and charging as a subset of that domain. So they would see EV logistics fleet operator to come up with integrated solutions in terms of tech play, in terms of the smart solutions for charging and integrated parking, which is where we saw the market getting opened up towards mobility, and we wanted to have a larger and integrated play in the market. We already are a charger manufacturer. We are a large-scale captive and open charging infra company, and today we are India's largest three-wheeler cargo e-mobility company, operating almost about 1,600, 1,700 EV mobility assets across 11 locations in India. So that's on the first question you asked me. Second question, in terms of how I see the technology play for us as a user. For EVs, you would understand and agree that the largest consumers and the demand drivers are fleet operators like Magenta, Mahindra Logistics. So we are the users, we are the early adopters, and we work very closely with the OEMs to give feedbacks in terms of what are the market demands, in which way the market is progressing. The entire premise on what Altigreen was based was they did something path breaking to what wasn't there in the market, but what the customers were asking for. They were asking for an asset which could give 100 kilometers on a single charge with a 177 cubic feet, which back then industry, it was a far-fetched thought, right? Today we work with them on fixed batteries. We work with them with fast charging vehicles. Today we are one of their largest consumers. So as a fleet operator, I think flexibility to operate different platforms, different applications gives us an edge in the market, gives us the value proposition in front of our customers. So we operate with fixed batteries, we have swap battery solutions, and today we have a large fleet of fast charging vehicles. And as a fleet operator, I can only be more excited for more technologies coming into play. Thank you.
Fantastic. Have you noticed one thing that is coming very strongly here? So the OEM says that we work very closely with the customer, we listen to him, we understand what he needs, and accordingly we realize that the lesser turnaround times for charging is the key, and then we have invested time, efforts and energy into building solutions which are fast charging. And on the other hand, the customer himself again resonating similar words but in a different language, where he says, no, we work very closely with the OEMs where we give the feedback on what's happening on the field and what kind of vehicles that is needed. This is the beauty of EV industry, right? Unlike any other industry, where the customers, the suppliers, the OEMs and the entire ecosystem works in close tandem, all for the betterment of the industry. Yeah? Thank you very much. And now my next question to Vijay. Vijay, Mahindra Logistics has been doing phenomenally well for the last 1 decade, right? And now I see that you are, I would say, very aggressively pushing the transition to green mobility, especially among the corporates. So what are different challenges that you see, and what is the comfort that you give towards those challenges with the help of technology?
So what really I want to see as a concern today, and what is the expectation of the corporate world? First and foremost, I would like to give the team the feedback. The cars are not built for fleets. The EV cars are now not built for fleets. It is built for the personal users, right? Why I will give you the small perspective. The personal passenger, at most he uses this car for 2 hours. He comes from the office to home, right? There is charging possibility, there is infrastructure issues he does not face. Now you look at the fleet segment. He needs or he operates the car for 12 to 14 hours. he technically does not have a parking space. He does, the public space parking. We know in India this is how it happens. So there is a big gap in that. Today, even if you see all the OEMs, including the Mahindras of the world, we started with Riva and all those things. Today we are focusing only on XUV 400 types. It's not the range for the fleet operator. That is one biggest concern, right? The other problems that we are facing with corporates is maybe the initial josh that corporate companies had is a novelty on this new technology EV, right? Everybody has the target on sustainability, right? And that's where some of the blue chip companies were able to invest and understand the fleet problems, and they were able to pay premium and adopt. But the way that there are challenges because 14 hours running the fleet which is right now is a little more concern. So end of the day, the fleet that we operate is only 4 or 5 hours. It is not making any economic sense for us. That's the biggest thing. The cost in which as a operations we need to manage the whole direct cost, whole infrastructure cost. It does not make any viable sense. But we are looking at long term. This is how we need to move on. There are customers who's paying. There are customers who's just watching the game to understand if the EV evolution, the battery evolution can happen better. The range can be promising. That's when it is economically viable for all of us. But then, at Mahindras, we are committed to take the journey forward. And this year, nothing less than, end of this year, close to another 1,000 vehicles we will, deploy in that, space to ensure that, the entire world gets the sustainability, targets, reducing the carbon footprints, etc.
Thank you very much, Vijay. That's interesting. So now my next question to Amitabh again. So whenever, this is a pattern that I noticed. You may correct me if I were wrong, but I'm a little curious. Whenever I see the lithium-ion battery costs are rising or the supplies are being choked, then I see a news article saying, hey, sodium-ion batteries are just around the corner. And then in the next few weeks, what I see is the lithium-ion batteries prices are slowly coming down. Are the OEMs using sodium-ion technology as a bait to kind of tame and control the lithium-ion battery supply chain, or the technology is really proven? If it is proven, why is it only limited to news articles? Why is it only limited to certain videos? When is it that we can start seeing the sodium-ion technology coming into the battery, and when is it that is going to take it as an upward trend? Want to understand.
So, sodium-ion has been around in the lab for a very long time. In fact, Reliance had acquired a company based out of the UK called Paradigm. They were very close to a production readiness for sodium. It's clear that India does not have enough resource with respect to lithium. We found deposits. I don't know when they will be, and if the quality of lithium there is automobile grade. So I think it's clear from India's perspective that we need to focus on things that are abundantly available in our country. Hydrogen, you're already seeing the transition for HCVs. But I think slowly you will start seeing aluminum and sodium being the two technologies that will take center stage in our country, because these two are abundantly available in our country. As far as sodium is concerned, I do know that CATL had decided to come up with production-ready sodium-ion packs, which they expect to put in the market by 2025. So I think there is a move that is happening in the industry. Everyone is coming. In fact, you'll be happy to know that there is iron air or iron water, something like that, a battery that is being created by Form Energy. They've raised like, I think, 700 million or something in the US. There are two companies working on it. ESS is the other one. So there are a lot of technologies that are currently being developed, including graphene. I think sodium is far ahead. I know that aluminum, for example, has been used to even fight planes in Israel. I think what they're trying to figure out is a way. It's not just about the technology and the readiness of that technology, but also whether the entire ecosystem can work along with it. If you need to replace a large aluminum pack, every time you go to do a fill, how does that entire ecosystem work? And my land up becoming very expensive. Same thing with respect to the other technology. I think it's not just about the pack itself, but about the entire ecosystem that would be required to take care of those technologies. I think that's what's evolving. Sodium is coming. I think we can't wish it away. Probably 2025 is when you will start seeing sodium batteries in the market.
Thank you very much, Aditya. And I'm sure we all notice those STD booths, right? The yellow color ones, the round color ones, where we put a coin and then we start talking, and then, right? It works all automatically, no manual intervention. And that was a thriving business once. Now my question to Arvind is, can we see the similar kind of revolution, like the way everybody was having an STD booth? Can I have battery swapping booths like that, where they just operate by themselves? People come, people kind of swap their batteries and then they move without any human intervention. If that can come as a reality, how is Tata Power prepared to lead such a revolution?
Well, as you said, the revolution happened in telecom from STD booth to cellular phone and mobile phones. It is also evolving same in the way of EV technology. So if you see when we started the charging stations, initially you have to go and scan the QR code, then you have to start charging. Now then the application came into process. From the application you can just click in the mobile and you can charge. Now it is added up to the RFID card, but it doesn't need to use the application, you can just tap the RFID card and charge. And already some of the players have already made it without even using any of this. The charger will identify your vehicle and it will automatically charge. So we are also working on it. So it will be launched sometime. So that is also under plans. So the technology is evolving day by day. So already, as you said, all the chargers doesn't have any manual intervention. So either the chargers or even the battery swapping stations don't require any manual intervention as on date. So any end user, EV users can directly go to the charging station now. So they can just pick up the gun, insert in the vehicle, and open the mobile and click a press, and they can start charging the vehicle. So the kind of advancements what we are looking forward is, as I said, one is that without even an app or RFID card, just by identifying the vehicle, the charging can start. So, and few more features like today, if you see, the payment is through a app-based system where the payment is directed from the thing. So that can be added with a card reader, and also connecting to all the UPI payments so that it can be made easy for a user. So it's basically customer experience what we are trying to provide. So it is on the way for that. We are doing it. Take that time. That's the matter.
Okay, thank you very much. Probably that is again one more micro entrepreneurial or rural entrepreneurial opportunities where every wall can be converted into a charging station. Every shop can be converted into a battery swapping station. Now, my question to Rohit is, I'm sure we all played the Lego bricks games, right? Where you have standard modules and then you use these Legos to build whatever the structure that you want. Now I see that you are into three-wheeler last mile mobility, and definitely I'm sure you will very soon venture into two-wheelers as well as into four-wheelers. When the portfolios of the products increase, when the quantum and the numbers increase, do you foresee in the future that the batteries would also be built like these Legos, where for two-wheelers it is a multiplication module of say 3 or 4x to that particular unit battery, and for probably three-wheelers it could be 12x of the Lego module, and probably for four-wheelers it is maybe 24x or 36x. Do you see such kind of a technology and such kind of a trend emerging? And if you see, or even before you see, as a customer, would you desire for such kind of a trend where we are not talking about interoperability at a different level, we are talking about interoperability between different product portfolios, which was never heard of?
Thanks, Rajiv. Good question. So, we are currently working with a couple of battery swapping solution companies, including Honda and eMobility, who have come up with solutions around three-wheeler battery swapping. We, being a charging-based, ideology-based company, we are not a big fan on the swap tech. We don't see very successful models around the world, barring the two-wheeler pieces. So it's still a huge question mark how it's going to pan out in the next 2 to 3 years. On paper, it's a brilliant case study. I can't even peg one fault out of the business model around swaps, but somehow you haven't seen it take off the way it should have. So yes, so that's a huge challenge. For a fleet operator like us, who's also an integrated charging player, which means we set up our own charging depots to support our mobility fleets. We currently operate about 44, 45 such depots pan-India. There's a huge challenge in terms of standardization on charging. So we run multiple fleets, charging, swapping, now fast charging with which came with a proprietary charging interface. Now I think the step up is now it comes with a DC fast charging option as well. So it gives a fleet operator like me an interoperability option to use that fleet anywhere and anywhere I want to. So that's a big plus. I would also want to take on the analogy which you said about the PCO booth. So I see it as a bank, right? Long time bank, we used to have bank branches, which is what we are setting. The CPOs were using largely for B2B applications. Applications are predictable, chargings could be predictable. So we set up large depots which are captive. I think it will move to the ATM setup, the ATC, anytime charging, and then an ATM which would be where you can swap any card of any bank's card. It's a step process. I think we are moving to step 2, where any wall, any kirana store could put up a small 7.4 kilowatt charger to plug and play at least a 2-wheeler, 3-wheelers who are the largest driver of e-mobility today, and maybe for next 2 to 3 years that's going to be the market play in India at least.
Fantastic. We have last probably 3 to 4 minutes, and I would like to open up this section for the audience. If at all you have questions, you may raise those questions. Probably we'll take 2, 3 put together and ask a summary from the panelists. Any questions from the audience? Yeah, please.
Thanks, man. Right, so I've been observing that the electrical vehicle, the hybrid electrical vehicles, since started at 1996, right? So are we bearing the relay from China or third world countries that we are picking it up and we are trying to run forward? Rather, industry is gearing up in a manner that making users benefit in order to develop their technology to come in. Say for example, the 3.3 kilowatt charger or 7.4 kilowatt charger doesn't have the same interoperability conditions, right? So we are encouraging users and manufacturers in order to build chargers by having 3.3 using MQTT or OCPP, and many others doesn't comply with OCPP, and they just go around and that's where the industry streamline required in a manner that either the OEM must take a control over it and not have to pass the technology to the EV charger manufacturing and handshake in a manner that they exchange information where users benefit having a seamless approach towards charger access, right? Currently, that's the difficulty that the users are facing. As I come from the EV charging and the energy utility industry, the key challenge is there, right? So when we are having a charger and every charger manufacturer has their own OCPP implementation, but it's not standardized, right? But something is qualified for ARI or anywhere in the testing labs, but it doesn't meet the user requirement. So my plea to all the OEM as well as the EV manufacturers is that try to adhere to a standard, and the standard which meets the user or usability, which is day-to-day beneficial. Say for example, only the chargers above 120 kilowatt, right, has the smart charging capability. When you go on Mac, you detect the Mac ID and it can charge.
Can you brief the question, sir?
Yeah. Right. So I request the EV industry, if the EV industry has a plan in a manner that to have a consortium or an arrangement to have a transfer of technology in user beneficial manner for better adoption. Is there any arrangement such that interface between the charger manufacturers and the EV manufacturers?
Okay. Would you like to answer that question?
I take a dig at it. So I think it's driven through standards. What's happening right now is that it is an industry in evolution. You started with hybrids in 1990, but at the end of the day, EVs are the ones that require the charging. Unfortunately, the only standard that we have today, I think recently, just about a week back, the Government of India announced another fast charging standard, which is not DC001, which is very interesting. GB/T has been around for a very long time, but the government has now announced another standard. I'm just saying the only standard that is prevalent today is 220 volt, 16 amps. And that too on an Anderson connector. I'm sorry I'm getting into technicalities, but this is a fact. GB/T has been around DC001, the 7.5 kilowatt that we're talking about. Not a single company in India makes the connector for that. Can you imagine? This is a standard that has been around. Vehicles were getting charged for the last decade or more. I know that this was around even with Riva. It was around. Not a single company in India makes the connector for that. They are all imported. And we want to comply with FAME. How do I get 50% DBA on a connector when no one in the country makes a connector for a standard, so the government changed the standard? Boss, this is an industry which is in transition. I think focus on the needs. For example, this fast charging that we came out with, it has its own connector. I can't wait for a standard to develop. At least I can offer something to the customer. When a standard comes, we will adhere to that standard, we will fix that standard. But until there, I cannot keep waiting for the user requirement to be around. The standard might take 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Tab tak kya hoga? We need to make sure that we are delivering to the customer needs. That's what I would say. I think standards will take time to evolve. It is not going to happen. There are too many players involved in making a standard. Trust me on this. It is not just an OEM or a customer or a charging manufacturer. You're absolutely right. It will take a while.
Thank you very much.
Maybe I'll give you another perspective, which is generally not a pure tech as this was mentioned. You look at now where is India in the car market. For 1,000 people, there is only 66 cars versus UK at around 600 cars per 1,000 people versus an US at close to 950, 980 types. Now, if you look at India as a market, right, close to 45% of the car buyers are new buyers, right? And if you see the evolved markets, that number is around 20-25%. That is where it is, right? Now, these new users are gonna experience EV with the shared mobility space that we were talking about. But when the evolution comes, there is no comparison. They don't know. Look at similar in the industry standards what happened. You mean to say 2G technology when it came, it was technology which is not great. 3G, 4G, when the evolution came in, it came very, very fast. So like that, the bigger advantage that India has is this 45% is a new buyers, right? And the evolution when it happens, you look at how the internet transition happened. We are the best in the class users, or the UPI users across the developed countries. We are the best now. So that's what will happen to India. And the evolution will happen very, very fast in a way that we don't even recognize how it happened.
Last question, because of the brevity of time.
Yes, this is to Mr. Arvind from Tata.
Okay.
Mr. Arvind, I do own 2 vehicles, EV vehicles. Why is not that the charging cost is not even everywhere in this place? I do travel to Hyderabad, Bombay, and to Chennai.
So you are saying the charging cost is not?
Same at every charging stations.
Because the operating cost is also different with every discount. The discount operates in a different tariff across all the states.
It's not like that. That
It's
you
not?
have the
Yeah.
locations number, you have maintained the number, the coding number like 1, 2, and 3, and 5, which are the different kilowatt of charging station chargers.
The rate of charging is same across all the chargers.
No, no,
for
no, no.
particular, yeah.
No, no. I have. If you want, you can just go to my.
I can explain you that.
Because I'm traveling. If you have a 25 kilowatt of charger, not even far away, to go to Rani Bennur, it is 30 rupees, 33 rupees plus GST.
No, it is.
And when, listen, in Bangalore, It was 18, now it is 23. Okay? In every places, somewhere in some part of in Belgaum, it is also 35 rupees. Why is this difference?
Okay, I will correct you on that. Might be if you see the actual building, what is happening, it is a prediction given based on the charger capacity. If I am putting as a 60 kilowatts capacity, the assumed amount, it's given as a prediction, what will be the charging amount? It is calculated on the capacity of the charger for 15 minutes. For 15 minutes, the 60 kilowatt can give a 15 units of power is the output. For the 15 units, the amount is mentioned over there. But actually, after you charge, it happens as per the actual charging consumption happen in your vehicle. The vehicle will not take 15 kilowatt. Every vehicle will not take 15 kilowatt in 15 minutes. If it is only 5 kilowatt is taken, the charges happen as per that. If you see the charging rate, unit rate is common across all the chargers. It's not different.
That is the thing I am saying. It is not common in every places.
Okay. Probably we'll take, I mean, it's a very interesting conversation. Maybe after this, because of the time that we have. Okay, you asked for one last question and sorry. We are anyway available during the lunch, so you can catch up with us. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll ask without the mic. So, if you look at one of the biggest problems that urban cities face, and Bangalore especially, is traffic and urban congestion. Okay, so we're all there's a lot of on-demand services. We have Magenta here, which is the B2B logistics last mile connectivity thing. Of course, that is moving to green. But if there are, I would predict that by 2025 or even by 2030, that may be 10x or even more than the passenger movement. So you have all the B2B moving to electric because it's an ROI, but then you are clogging the roads during peak hours where there are more passenger vehicles polluting. So I just want to know if there's any way to solve this problem.
You want to? Yeah.
Shared mobility. I think metro rail systems are improving in most congested cities. So the problem, I think the answer also is very, I think it's clear. The only way to do this is to have more people using the same either bus or vehicles or whatever it might be. You'll be surprised to know when you go back home and you're sitting in your office, you're doing ChatGPT, right? Someone else. You know how much energy that consumes when you have a conversation of just 5 exchanges? Take a guess. 500 milliliters of 2 bottles of water. Every time you have a conversation with just 5 exchanges. You're talking about pollution on the street. I'm talking about global warming. I'm saying 500 milliliters of water is consumed, is thrown on the ground every time you exchange ChatGPT 5 times. That's it. So I'm saying there are too many problems to solve. I think mobility, honestly, is an easier one to fix. I'm telling you the truth. It's an easier one to fix. Yes, there would be need, and I think drones are going to happen, aerial mobility is going to happen. So you won't find congestion. It's clear that either through ports or through flights, you are going to have deliveries. So the common deliveries will get fixed. I think everyone's realizing that we need to club mobility together, and so shared mobility is the future. It will take on, I think, more and more.
Okay, thank you for that. So,
Sorry.
on that note.
No. Because of the time, I think it's a good question. We will take it later. Yeah. I think, ladies and gentlemen, the panel has been extraordinary. They have been phenomenal in bringing very specific, detailed, futuristic industry insights to us. Do you agree with me? Shall we honor them with a big round of applause? So, with this, we come towards the conclusion of this panel on trends in charging and battery. Thank you very much, the Auto EV Tech, and thank you for being such a wonderful audience who have been engaging and asking very inquisitive questions. So, with this, once again, this is Rajiv YSR signing off for now. Thank you very much. Can we have one photo with the panel, please? Yeah.